Have you ever bought anything off Temu? Hi, everybody. I'm Rob, and this is Storm Crow Overland. We talk about going on adventures, road tripping, camping, and just generally getting out and enjoying life. And on this week's episode, we're going to talk about whether or not you should buy Overland gear from Temu. To test this out, I went on Temu. I kept hearing people talking about it. My kid kept talking about it. I'd seen ads for it. I was like, all right, I'm going to go on Temu and I'm going to pick out some Overland related items that I think, yeah, nothing mission critical. If I bought some stuff on Temu, but I didn't buy anything that if it goes wrong, the trip's ruined. It's just kind of extra stuff. It is kind of gimmicky stuff, but it's neat stuff. I really just wanted to try it, kind of check the quality out. Basically, it's stuff that I would have ordered off Amazon for cheap, but I feel like I'm just kind of cutting out the middleman. So let's take a look. Basically, what happened was I went on Temu, ordered some stuff. It took 2 or 3 weeks to come in. I mean, it wasn't Amazon next day Prime shipping or anything, but it didn't take that long. Stuff was really cheap. I'm not going to include links to anything on Temu because honestly, there's 100 listings for every item. It seems like, and trying to find the exact same one that I got. They're all about the same. So the first thing I got was this little fire starter thing. I've seen it. I can't remember what company makes these because I had the real one. This is a knockoff. Let's be honest real quick. I had the real version of this saved in my cart on Amazon, kind of waiting for it to go on sale. Usually they're 25, 30 bucks, somewhere in that range. On Temu, I think this was 3 or 4. And so what it is you unscrew this part, and it's got a striker rod. And then you unscrew this part, and it's the striker. And you put this part that you unscrewed onto the rod to make a handle. And then the way it works is it's just a sparker. It's a ferrocerium rod. See if I can get the spark real quick. Spark's pretty good. There you go, yeah. So, puts out a heck of a spark. I don't know what they initially coated this with, this black stuff. You definitely have to scrape through it. It's kind of an anti-corrosion stuff. And it's on there pretty thick, but I did scrape it off to get to the silver. Actually make it spark. I don't like that it's a knockoff. I probably will still order the real thing one of these days now that I see it and I like it and it's handy. But realistically, this works great. There's, other than wanting to be a good person and support companies who make things and innovate things, I don't see a huge reason to buy the more expensive one other than supporting the company and supporting those workers and stuff like that, and not buying junk made from who knows, made by who knows where, people from, that are probably, it's bad business. It did come with some cheap knockoff 550 cord to put in the little striker. It's a neat little thing. Might be good for if you happen to have some Overland people in your family, like a stocking stuffer kind of thing. Works great as a backup. I would not rely on this as my only form of fire starter. Now, with that, even if I had the real one from Amazon that's like 5 times or 10 times as much, I still wouldn't depend on it as my only fire starter. You have layers of things. But if you're just going to, stash it away in your car or in a pack or something as a backup, it's not a bad option. All right, let's move on to the second thing I got from Temu. I got 4 total, so we'll get to all of them. This one kind of goes in with the fire starting stuff too, but it was probably not as good a value. It is they call it a pocket bellows, and it's a little metal straw that collapses and it expands out real big. It expands out to almost 1.5 feet. And if you don't know how these work, you put the skinny in. If you're trying to start a fire and it's not quite going real good, or you just want it to burn a little hotter, you put the skinny in toward the fire and you blow in the fat end, almost like a blow dart. And it just forces more air in to kind of get the combustion going, get the fire going. I've seen people use these. It's It's just stamped metal that in a tube that collapses down. There's really nothing to it. Same. These are like $8 to $10 on Amazon, and if you bought it from Temu, it's like $3. So a third of the price. This probably is coming the exact same factory as the one on Amazon, so I don't really feel bad about buying this one at all. Same thing. I don't do a lot of campfires. If you've ever camped with me, you'll probably know I'm not a huge campfire guy. I'm happy to sit around and have sit around a fire and have a drink, but so many places have burn bans. I can't count on it, so I don't. So I always bring stuff to cook. I need to bring cooking stoves and stuff to cook on instead. I never depend on having a fire, so I don't really think about it. I've got a portable fire pit. I never bring it. It's just campfires aren't that important to me. But this was just something I'd seen other people use them. Like my buddy's got one, and I always was like, well, that'd be a neat thing to try out. And since I was ordering some stuff off Temu, yeah, sure, why not? And this is one I would order again. So the first two, both, yeah, probably I would buy again. The next ones, we'll see. So in my 4Runner, it came from the factory with two 12-volt cigarette lighter plugs. One of them got displaced when the FJ transfer case swap happened. The twin sticks come up where the cigarette lighter plug was in the front. So I'm left with one cigarette lighter plug in the very back, right back here. So if I want to charge my fridge or charge a battery or have something else plugged in, it doesn't always work real good. So I wanted a splitter. So I ordered a splitter. Your regular 12-volt cigarette plug on one end and then 12-volt receptacles on the other end. And when I first got it, I was really impressed. This was also like $2. This was, I think everything I ordered was less than $15. And I was really impressed. I was like, man, these wires are way thicker than I expected. They feel like 10 gauge maybe. Just guessing. I'm not sure. They're thick. I said, well, that's cool. And I took the thing apart. It has a fuse in it. I'm like, okay, cool. It's fused. And I haven't actually used it yet. But I kept just thinking, like, man, those wires seem so thick. Like, thicker than they would need to be. And I expected, ordering from somewhere like Temu, that they would be kind of smaller, not as substantial wires, and not as good. So I got bored. And I took it all apart. And I'm not going to take it apart. Well, I won't do it all. But I took all this apart and got down to the bare wire and realized... So just because the outside of the wire is really thick doesn't mean the inside is. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can get this apart without losing any pieces. So I started taking all this apart. I just dropped the spring. I'll have to find it in a second. And I started looking, and you're not going to be able to tell on camera, I know. But the actual metal part of the wire inside is very thin. 20 gauge thin, and it has a really, really thick insulation jacket on it. This is the thickest rubber coating I've ever seen on a wire. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm still going to try to use it. I'm not using it. Like I said, this is not a life or death mission critical thing, so I'll still give it a shot and try to use it. But I'm not going to depend on it, and I probably wouldn't buy it again. Especially knowing that, if they're being deceptive of just about the thickness of the wires, what else is not? Is the fuse really a fuse? Is it? The fuse is also not marked for what strength of the fuse it is. It's blank. Doesn't look like a real strong fuse, but it's hard to tell just by looking at it. But yeah, so this is one that, while it's really cheap, I might pass on this one. And here's the last thing I ordered. And the other ones I actually had high hopes for. I'm like, it's kind of hard to screw up a metal straw to blow on a fire with. I figured a cigarette lighter splitter is pretty simple. It's not nothing complicated or expensive, doesn't component-wise. This last one I ordered with very, very low expectations. It's a tool roll. It's a nice green canvas tool roll. And I think it was like $8. I'm not sure. Wasn't a lot. It's not great. It's okay. I mean, it is a tool roll. It has 4 pouches. It's got zippers. You can roll it up. It's got handles. It's got a clippy. You can hold it closed. It actually has some little hooks where you could hang it from something if you really felt like it. Not surprising. Material's really thin. It's smaller than I thought it was, which that's my bad. I could have read the description better and actually looked at the measurements, which I didn't do. So it's smaller than I thought, but that didn't surprise me. The material is pretty thin, which doesn't surprise me. It is kind of like rubber coated on the inside, I guess, to make it a little tougher. So that's kind of nice. The zippers are cheap and kind of thin. The stitching is, we're going to go with adequate. It is holding it together. I don't think I'm actually going to use, my idea was if this was good, I would put all my tools in here, that I keep in the vehicle, in here, and use it like a tool roll. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm really worried that if I load this up with tools and wrenches and everything, it's going to be a little too heavy. It's going to start coming apart. But I'm going to find a use for it. It may be crafting supplies or other like random small tools, something like that. But it's still useful. It's just not great. Side note, out of those things I ordered on Temu, I also let my daughter order. I was like, hey, I told her what I was doing. And I was like, here, why don't you add like $20 worth of stuff? Because I know you've been wanting to order stuff off Temu. And she was very happy with what she got. She ordered like some house shoe slipper things. She loves them. She wears them all the time. She ordered some little outfit thing. She likes it. And then she ordered some posters, and she knew they were small. They were band posters, she knew they were small. I'm pretty sure they're just 8x10 sheets of paper that they printed a picture on. They're not like poster thick. They're not shiny. It's like printer paper. All right, one second while we'll wrap up. But like I was saying, my daughter was very happy overall with the stuff she got, other than the posters. So I wouldn't recommend ordering posters through there. I will say, overall, I would not recommend buying Overland gear off Temu. If you are just hurting for money and you're just trying to scrape together something, go for it. If you're doing it just because it's something gadgety and you want to just try it to see if you even like it before you buy the real thing, sure. I will always recommend to buy from the real company, from the people that actually innovated and came up with things, especially if they're American countries, or not even American countries, but countries that have better working conditions, things like that. I just like to think that I'm trying to help make the world a better place in general, somehow, even if it's just a little bit. But so yeah, wouldn't recommend buying stuff off Temu. I'm gonna keep the stuff I got. I'm gonna use it if you ever. Most of it will be in my rig, so if you ever see me out and about and you're curious about it, just let me know. But yeah, that kind of wraps up what we got for the week. If you're watching the video on YouTube, just realize we also release the audio as a podcast. You can find it wherever good podcasts are found. Just search Stormcrow Overland. You can also find the video if you're listening to this as a podcast. You can find the video on YouTube. Just search Stormcrow Overland. Same thing for Instagram. And finally, if you can also email me at stormcrowoverland@gmail.com. On any of those platforms, I would greatly appreciate a like, comment, follow, subscribe, any of that kind of stuff. I love hearing from folks. I love hearing your comments, hearing what you think. What did you guys think about this, about the Temu stuff? Was ordering stuff off Temu dumb in the first place? Was it worth a shot? Is there anything that you have ordered from Temu or you've considered? Yeah, like I said, let me know. I'd love to hear what you think. So I guess that kind of wraps it up. So sometimes you have to go out and get lost and maybe not take cheaply made things with you before you can find yourself. Thanks for watching.